Welcome back to Student Tutorials. In this video, we're going to be looking at how you can obtain data from your free temperature sensors and actually convert that data to a CSV file so that we can use it to make graphs in Python. Now, there's a couple prerequisites for this video. You need to make sure you've got all the scripts for the three different thermometers, and you have to make sure that they're combined into one script rather than being there in separate scripts. That's very easy to do. Just copy and paste the code and put it in their respective locations. The other thing is you need to make sure you have the program PuTTY installed. I will not be covering the installation of it in this video, but I will put a link for it at the end. It's a very easy install. Anyway, let's get right into it. You'll see here I have my script, which is just all my different scripts combined into one, which is great. And what our aim is to, well, get a CSV file. Now, CSV stands for comma separated values. So what we need to do is make sure our values are separated by a comma. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to first just print out our first variable, which is going to be temperature. Now, that's the variable I've used for the PuTTY 1000 data. So temperature, I'm just going to print that. Now, since we need comma separated values, in between each line, I'm just going to print a comma as well. I'm going to go ahead and do that for the next one. And the next one, I'm just going to do temp C, which is the variable I've used for the Dallas's data. So temp C. Again, I'm going to put another comma after that. And we're going to put our last variable, which I have called temperature underscore C for some reason, which is the one I've used for the T6 temperature. So temperature underscore C. Put that. Now, if I was to run that right now, what you would see is that all those values would get put on one line. It's just going to keep printing that list of values in one line, and it's all going to merge into each other, and it's going to be a massive mess. So what we need to make sure we do is actually print a new line after each set of values. So to do that, you just do print ln, print line, and we're just going to put an empty space in there, so just absolutely nothing. Great. Now, if I run that and open a serial monitor, give me an error even though it's still working, you'll see that we've got our three values separated by a new line each time, and they're almost about the same temperature. A couple of them are sitting quite close to my laptop though, which is probably why they're reading high values, but that's okay. Anyway, now we've got our data formatted in the right way, we need to actually get that saved to a file. Now you could sit here and try and copy it, but you'll find the serial monitor is not an easy place to copy from, and it doesn't like you doing it. It doesn't like you copying big amounts of data. So there's a much easier way. What we're going to do is we're going to launch PuTTY. Now, there's just a couple settings you need to do here. We're going to switch this to serial mode. So essentially, we're just going to read the serial monitor using PuTTY. It's going to ask for what serial line we're on. Now, you need to check up here and check what COM you're connected to. So here, my Arduino is connected to COM5. So I'm going to go back to this program. I'm going to write COM5 like that. Cool. You also need to make sure that your speed is set to the same speed that your serial.begin is in your script. So 9,600. Great. Next, you need to go to the logging section and go to printable output. So we're just going to print our output into a file. I'm going to say browse, I'm going to go in your documents or whatever, and just give it a good name. So I know temperature values. I'm just going to save that like that. Cool. Now, you could go ahead and just press open. However, you need to make sure the serial monitor on your Arduino IDE is closed. Otherwise, it will not work. That's like having two things trying to read the serial monitor at once. It doesn't work. It's just going to get confused. So I'm going to press close and close that and go back to it. Program. It's open. And it should, you see, start putting the temperatures for us on this little PuTTY thing instead. So if I just leave it for a few seconds to gain some values, you guys would probably do this for an hour or so maybe to get a lot of data. But I'm just going to do it for a couple of seconds. That's probably enough. So we're just going to close that right here. I'm going to go to our files, and I'm going to search for what we call the file. So temperature values, I've got it. And it's here, it's got absolutely it's not got an entity file. So it's not any type of file. It's just a blank file. We can go ahead and open that with Notepad, even though, and that's fine. And you'll see here, it's a little bit messy. So we need to get this cleared up. We're just going to get rid of this and get rid of the top as well. Get rid of the lines as well, and get rid of any extra numbers at the end. So now we just have our data formatted nicely. Cool, we can go ahead and save that. Now, we need to convert this to a CSV. So all we have to do is right-click on that file, go to Properties, and then at the end of your file name, just put .csv. So that's okay. And you'll see here that we've now got CSV. So you'll see here you've got all your data formatted quite nicely. However, it's got no sort of labels, so you need to remember what order you've printed your different temperature values in. So I've done PT1000, then I've done Dallas, and then I've done the T6 monitor. So best way to do that is probably just to copy this data or cut it even, and then just move it down a row. So like that. And we can just put the names of the different formatters above. So PT1000, Dallas, T6. Great. Now we've got our data all formatted very nicely in a CSV that we could use in Python to graph something. Obviously, you guys are going to have a lot more data, but the process is exactly the same. Anyway, that's it for this video. In the next video, we're going to be looking at different types of microcontrollers and how we use them. Thanks for watching.